Alright, Travis Wayne Goodsell. Time for... we'll do economy this time. The YouTube employee working the shift sort of processed it. Right at the end there, he was giving me some grief. But this is all part of an economy, as economy is tied directly to government, and why economic systems all collapse when money is involved, monetary system of some kind. And so thus a new type of economy is needed to be created to eliminate the problems that arise from a monetary system. And you may think, well, aren't all economies a monetary system? Well, yes, all current ones are. But that's not supposed to be the case. As deciding as a government to establish laws, to execute laws, and to adjudicate laws based on the three main principles which the YouTube employee, I guess, had difficulty with: life, liberty, property. This is all this is about, guys. You don't take away a person's agency. You grant people agency. You let them govern themselves. And when they violate it, then you punish according to the crimes they commit. And so having the right economy prevents extortion, prevents the violations of life, liberty, and property to other people as well as to government officials. And technically, under the government system, as I sort of alluded to, you don't need a legislative and executive branch. And I've even designed, though it requires a programmer to be honest, which is going to be the tough part of it, to design a legislative or a judicial program to take in the evidence supplied to it to determine, independent of any bias of a human, to render a judgment and the punishment affixed to the judgment. And so if you're thinking, well, what if somebody makes a false accusation against somebody and they end up getting punished when they were innocent? Well, are they, if they're truly innocent, who then is the guilty person who committed the crime? Exactly, the false accuser. So it's not a complicated system if you just think outside of the brainwashing boxes that they've been putting you in. Alright, so we need to go to priestcraft. 2 Nephi 26. This is the economy of Zion. It defines it for us. Tells us the exact system that is supposed to be utilized. Let's see. He commandeth that there should be no priestcrafts. For behold, priestcrafts are that men preach and set themselves up for a light into the world, that they may get gain and praise of the world. So a monetary system corrupts even religion, as the prosperity gospel, as it's called, has swept through American evangelicals. But they seek not the welfare of Zion. And Zion here is understood as the people. It is not understood as the church or the city or the land. Those aren't necessary to exist. It's the people. And you need a government, you need an economy, you need a religion, you need a language to run a society. But without the people, you have no need for any of that. And so to see religious people take advantage of their flock is horrifying. And the Book of Mormon creates the new word called priestcraft to explain this atrocity of a crime committed using religion as a front for criminal operations. And so here's the brief sentence: but the laborer in Zion shall labor for Zion, for if they labor for money, they shall perish. So how does this work? How does this happen? How do you labor for Zion without money to get paid for, to buy things, or call it communism, or socialism, or any of those wrongisms, as I went over in the government version? That people are misdefining things purposely to deceive you. We're told that we live in a capitalist economy. It's a slave economy. It's not capitalist. It's just unbelievable the things that they have brainwashed Americans to believe in. And other nations do it as well, but it's horrifying. And you hear about how the Republicans are purposely going into Latino countries, specifically those with a dictator in their south of the border country, to scare them into thinking that if they vote for Biden, that they're going to return to the atrocities of their country. So pick Trump, who's kicking you out of America anyway, who's locking you up, just like the dictator in your country. Yay! It's just the definition mind game just needs to stop. It's called gaslighting. Alright, so how does one labor in Zion and labor for Zion, but not get any money, not pay for things? That's the common thing of the abusive conservatives, is when they say, oh, we're going to have free health care. The Democrats obviously are lying. It's not going to be free overall. It's just free for customers. And so conservatives are trying to exploit that by saying the abusive comment, well, who's going to pay for this? Because Republicans are of the slave economy mindset. Everything must be paid for. Slaves must be owned, and you must be able to pay for them, and they must be able to work for you, and you give them a barn to live in. Isn't that good enough? You want cake also and eating it too? And so, yeah, everybody's just playing the mind game. And so how do you do it? How do you know what needs to be done if our Constitution, as I indicated, is just life, liberty, and property, and you grant life, liberty, and property to everybody? And there is no governing body, there is no executive body. You just have judges whenever there's a complaint about somebody's rights being violated. Well, it's simple, and we'll put it to you this way. What are you good at? What do you like doing? What would you like to be good at and like to be doing? That's it. That's all. Because this kind of economy is perfect for large societies. It doesn't do well with a small family group, because if you have everybody saying, I want to be the farmer, Dad. No, I want to be the farmer. No, I want to be the farmer. Okay, you can all be the farmer. You can do whatever you want. Then who's going to do the other jobs that are necessary for survival? And so the system is perfect for larger communities. You don't need to control people's lives with a whip, unless you're into Depeche Mode, Master and Servant. Save that for the bedroom. Don't ask me to participate. I don't do violence. But that kind of a system where you help build Zion by doing what you love and are good at. And so if you like sewing clothes, for example, and you're good at it, and you get what you need, which is the material and all of the needles and threads, sewing machine, whatever, serger, to make the clothes. Even design the clothes if you're even that good. Otherwise, you'd get other designs for you to make clothes with. And so anything that you want to do that would benefit the whole, that's what you get to do for a job. You get to set your own hours and produce according to the capacity. Because obviously, once everybody has clothes and the storage is built up with clothes, now yes, I understand women like to wear something new every single day, which would be an option in this system, in this society. Because all you need to do is say, I want to wear these particular clothes for the week. They get sent to you. You wear them for the week. You send them back. And you order new stuff for the next week. You can do that. I don't see the logic in it, but women, I've dated a lot of women who like to do that. I like to watch them as they model for me. That's awesome. And so, yes, there are, if guys understood this, if women would actually model for the guys when they're at the clothing store, then it can be fun for the guys too. But yeah, this is the type of economy that would eliminate criminal activity. If you get whatever you need to survive, and whatever you want, and whatever you require for what you want to do to benefit everybody else, why do you need to go rob a bank? We don't have a money system anyway, so there are no banks. Why are you going to rob a 7-Eleven? Why are you going to rob a grocery store for food? Or for bread? Les Miserables? There is no reason to. There is no more poverty. There is no more economic inequality. Everybody gets what they need for what they want to do to help others, and what they want. It's not a complicated system, but when you throw money in, all of a sudden you have complications, and the economic systems always collapse when money is involved, because those with the money manipulate the whole system to their advantage, to punish people, extort, to bribe, to manipulate the laws so that the laws won't punish them. They'll go after victims of their abuse. And so all of that's gone. under this kind of economy. You get to own everything. And that's what people don't understand is communism, you don't own anything. It belongs to the state, the nation. You owe loyalty to the nation under communism. And so, yeah, and in certain abusive places, you have to actually bribe your grocer or your butcher to get better quality food from behind the counter. And if you aren't rich enough to bribe them, then you're screwed. As your life, liberty, and property are deprived you. And so this allows equality, but it doesn't conform everybody to the same lifestyle, which communism does. They force you to go to work for the state. You know, whether you're good at it or not, you have to go and work. And in this situation, no. What are you good at? What do you want to be good at? Your education is free. Your health care, free. Because we have doctors who love to be doctors and are good at their job. And that's all they need to do, is take care of the sick and the afflicted. And none of this pharmaceutical company human testing to slip in a few extra, however much money they get paid to test the pharmaceutical drugs on patients. None of that. Doctors can actually say, okay, here's what's wrong with you. Here's what will cure you. Or it will go away in a few days. If you're not liking the discomfort or the pain, we can do that. But we're not going to give you opioids. As Pfizer is settled for $8 billion, as I saw on ABC4 News Utah today on YouTube, waiting for the hour-long processing of the video. And so it's that simple. You know, as children would be educated in the basics of the scientific fields. If parents also want to educate their children with a variety, don't force them. You are taking piano lessons. I want to. No, you're taking them. No. You know, let the children, you know, expose the children to all sorts of stuff that are available to them and let them decide what they like. There's a period of time where they're going to like being a police officer or a Barbie princess or whatever. Let them run its course. That's part of their educational development. But make sure that the sciences are also taught. And so if sports are allowed, it's a little bit difficult when we have segregated sporting events. The BYU University of Utah rivalry every year. That's a segregated event, and that results in conflicts and contentions. We'd have to have a different system, as we don't need United States anymore, or segregated states as they actually are. There isn't, oh, you're from the south side, oh, you're from the west side. You know, those kinds of purposeful divisions to destroy. It would be more like in school during recess, where people pick sides or pick people to be on their team or whatever, which then also has problems in and of itself, because you have kids who want to play who are just not that good as some of the other kids, and they always get picked last, and then conflict ensues. So hold on a second while I do the next transfer here. But we can actually have a system where we don't have to kill each other to play a game for people's entertainment. Football, for example. I mean, yeah, everybody loves football. It's a manly sport. Everybody gets to beat each other up and show that they're big and tough as they live the rest of their retirement in a coma or brain dead. But there are other things that can be done. And it's the monetary system that is preventing the safety of people in sports as a result. There's only 2? Okay. And so there's not a need for concern as to whether there's going to be somebody to be a farmer, for example. There are a lot of jobs that can be automated and roboticized or whatever it's called, where no humans really need to be involved. And it would actually be a better, safer system as a result. Unless the robots rise up against their creators. Which makes for a great movie, but only can happen if there's a programmer who programs it to do such. And thus the programmer would be guilty of crime. But but this is a lifestyle that is beneficial to everybody. We don't need to worry about somebody building a product that's going to break down on us after the warranty expires, because everybody will have the incentive to make the best quality product that will last for the longest period of time, because there's no need to worry. You just help, provide for Zion, and everything works fine. I mean, if you get those people who think, oh, I'm just going to coast, I'm just going to be the one who makes little coasters, and the coasters are poor quality and run out or wear out quick and whatever, the quality control of the people would say, return it, and say, this is crap. And so yes, there would be a punishment because you're taking away the property of other people. But there shouldn't need to be a fear of, oh no, if I don't sew this button exactly right, I'm going to go to prison for the rest of my life. I mean, there's, again, agency involving violations of life, liberty, and property. I mean, the light bulbs, they have the technology to make a lifetime light bulb. There's no reason other than monetary money economies that would require people to produce a crappy light bulb that will blow when you flip the light switch. Oh, ran out of light bulbs again. We just bought them yesterday. I know. There's a hole in the bucket there, Liza. We'll fix it. And so, yeah, people will have an incentive because it's what they love and what they're good at. And so in social situations, I mean, you can even have a social media site where you are presenting your product. Hey, this is what I'm good at. I'm going to teach you how to do it yourself. Because we don't want to keep these things a secret. Again, there's no reason to hoard your patent or your product design because there's no money involved. I mean, you present it, it comes identified as your product, and you're allowing other people, especially like for clothing, you may not be able to sew fast enough for the whole population and to build up a supply on top of it, and so you'll need to be able to mass produce, and that's where a machine would come in, automation or a robot that will turn on you in the middle of the night. You thought clowns were scary. Meet the future clowns, robots. But no, it's real simple. See, for me, I would be able to get a whole lot accomplished under this system. You would have my board game, not only as a board game, but it would be as a computer program. I'd have all sorts of other board games that I've got planned, all built and designed, and in the catalog list for people to obtain, and I'd be composing music and translating, producing the fulfillment of the Ezekiel 37 prophecy, etc., etc., etc. So this system would be perfect for a guy like me. But you don't have to be a guy like me in order to live in the system. Again, if you're only good at one thing, that's okay. We're not going to force anything on you. We're not going to say, oh, you need more flair on your vest there. How much flair? Well, we need you to embrace your job and enjoy your job and let you determine the amount of flair. But I've already got a lot of flair and you're saying it's not good enough. How much flair? If you've not seen Office Space. Or The Office, I think it is, the movie. Or is that the TV show, The Office? Is it Office Space is the movie? The Office is the TV show, and then there was a British version of The Office. So anyway, but it's not a difficult concept. For example, if you're disabled, such as you don't have the use of your legs, well, if you're able to use your hands and you want to do something, yeah, you're more than welcome to do something with your hands. Not a problem at all. But as disabled, you're not required. You automatically receive all that you need as a disabled person. If you're elderly, for example, you can retire, not have to worry about it. We don't need to have retirement at 55 and then 65 and then 67 and then 70, or then no retirement because it's not enough for receiving Social Security. None of that is needed. Everybody gets taken care of. And if you're not able to contribute, you're still getting taken care of because you're human. There is no crime if you're disabled or elderly or sick and can't. There are no quotas other than the initial supply of goods, because the first stage is making sure that every individual and every family group have what they need for what they want to do and what they want. And then you need a warehouse supply based on how the population. And so as you spread throughout the world, you then need a tier system of storage. And so it starts with a local community, depending on how the cities are designed. Ideally, I'm putting up the pyramid thing for you, as Joseph Smith had said that it was supposed to be the mountain cities of Zion and New Jerusalem, and so it would be a mountain city, and so each city then would be able to take care of itself. But as you have other mountain cities over the course of the millennium, you would need to expand the distribution with the warehouses. And so, for example, we'll say every 100 people have their center storehouse, and they have everything that is required for the needs of those of that system. And so if they don't like kiwis, for example, then they don't have kiwis at that location. Only the stuff that is what they need or want is made available for them at that center. But obviously there are others who will want kiwis, and so kiwis would be available at theirs. And so then when you get, say, 10 centers of 100, then you have one upper tier level warehouse to supply those 10. And so if there's a kiwi out of one of those, then the upper level tier one would have kiwis on hand when the lower tier runs out, because they place their orders to the upper tier. That's the system set in mind. So like a pyramid, think of it, but it's not a pyramid scam, because that involves money. There is no money involved. And so the lower base of the pyramid is the individual groups of people. It serves the people directly. And then the upper tier doesn't go to the people directly, it goes to the lower tier groups. And when they run out of supplies or run low on supplies, you don't wait till you're out. You need to design a system that says, okay, we're at a certain level, and at this certain level we need to supply us with this much to maintain enough in stock. And so a computer program and system would need to be set up to make sure shipments are properly maintained for the needs of the people, and thus factor in, say, the Super Bowl. Obviously the Super Bowl, you're going to need to supply more chips and dip and sodas or whatever people have on such occasions. If a wedding's coming up, oh well, we're going to need to provide all the stuff for a wedding. So those things would need to be factored in, as those involved in the society would input it into the system so that it can be handled and taken care of when the time arises, so that the bride doesn't have to get stressed. And it's that simple. And you just, the larger the society grows, the higher up the pyramid warehousing you'd have, till eventually the top is for the whole world. And it's that simple. Nobody takes directly from the top, it filters itself down. This is the actual trickle-down economic system that Reagan failed to accomplish. As the 1% took from the top of the pyramid, and it never trickled down. So it's that simple. Trying to think if there's anything else I need to cover for it, but no. So the education's free. The educational system will be different in that the basic information will need to be taught, but much of it, you know, if you want to be a doctor, first you have to learn about the human body and the bones and skeletal structure and the names and that, all that stuff. But then once you've learned that, you're ready for hands-on application. And so it's more of an apprenticeship rather than sitting in the class and saying, okay, when a person comes in with a high fever and blood gushing out of their right arm, what do you do? No, you hands-on. You get out into the field, you get out into the hospital or wherever is being used to take care of the situation. And you're put on the front lines. Which, I mean, the certain hospitals or educational schools thought they were being clever by saying, oh, if you go help in the fight against coronavirus, you'll get your tuition paid for, or you'll be given a credit hours, or come on, seriously. At college and university levels, it should all be in a hospital. No more sitting at a desk listening to a teacher quote from a book. No, they should be in the hospitals, getting apprenticeship learning from a doctor, from a nurse, from a construction worker, etc. And so yes, there are certain businesses that will no longer be required, but nobody needs to fear. If coal miners are out of a job because coal pollutes the environment and is hazardous to human life, there's no concern about the coal miners losing their job. They can do whatever they want, or whatever they want to want, whatever they want to learn. They don't need to worry about where their paycheck's coming from, because there are no paychecks. They can learn a new interest that can help people rather than kill them. And so the combustion engine, we can now finally put it to rest. It's obsolete, has been so for 100 years. We don't need it. There are better, more efficient fuel sources. We can utilize those, and we don't need to sabotage solar power by creating solar panels that are of a low wattage. It's not complicated. And so yes, the city would be run on solar power. And you may think, but solar power doesn't work when there's clouds and rain. A battery storage? Hello? It's not complicated. We have the technology. It's already in the system. But those who have the electric energy rather than solar, which from whatever source they use it from, they don't want you to use solar power, and so they purposely sabotage solar power by low wattage, or make it too expensive to buy the higher wattage, etc. I mean, there's just no need for it. There's no money involved. And we don't want to destroy the planet, because then everybody dies. That's an environmental concern. You know, are trees actually the best product for building a home? Or is there a better product that will last longer and will not be subject to burning to ash in case of a fire, whether human caused or natural caused? So yeah, we would all be utilizing the better quality products, the more efficient, safer systems, and not be destroying the earth. And this is the one thing that concerns me about environmentalists, is that they want the world to be wild. They don't like men destroying the environment. Okay, good. But mankind are different from animals in that we have the ability to domesticate. No other living organism knows how to domesticate. It's a survival of the fittest system when everything is just wild and anarchical. And that's a form of government that obviously is a collapsed government, so therefore it's a wrong government. And so environmentalists who want to preserve the forests, who want to preserve the jungles, no, we need to domesticate them. You know, they want animals to be wild and in their wild environment. No, because then humans can't interact with them. They will kill us. They could break out and kill us. And so we need a system to domesticate in order to provide a safe environment for everybody involved. Humans, animals, and vegetation. It can be done. We have the technology. We have the capability of building the first bionic man. But then we don't need to have people trying to interfere with fishing boats, as they themselves in their little tugboat are also hurting the environment. But yeah, the system would be set up so that once you've met the needs of the people, you don't keep creating an indefinite storage. You know, once you have the supply filled all the way up to the top of the pyramid that I gave it as an example, you don't need to keep building anymore. You don't need to keep making. And so such people would say, hey, we're full. Everybody's got what they need from you. We don't need any more. And so if you have something else you want to learn or do, we welcome that. But at the beginning, it's not likely to happen anytime soon, until things are set in motion and supplied. But it doesn't take long when we have the technology to meet demand almost instantly nowadays. But we need to replace what we take from the earth and make sure it's domesticated, so that the forests are not wild, so that they burn down in a blaze of fire that gets out of control and puts human life in danger. And we don't need to decimate the land for crops only to create a dust bowl and then replace or heal the soil with ginseng and then create Tornado Alley. Earth needs to be domesticated, and in order to preserve human life. Otherwise it throws a fit and a tantrum and tries to kill people with natural disasters. So domestication of the earth is the key. Alright, that's that for that.